Hello, and welcome back to Bertena's Spiritual Sanctuary. I'm so glad that you're here with me today. Before we begin, I invite you to pause for just a moment. If you can, take a gentle breath in through your nose and then slowly release it through your mouth. Let your shoulders soften, let your jaw unclench, and let your body arrive. Today's episode is for anyone who finds that Christmas feels different this year. Not wrong, not broken, but just changed. If you've had a spiritual awakening, a deep inner shift, or a quiet remembering of who you truly are, this season can bring tenderness, confusion, and sometimes grief alongside beauty. Today, we're going to talk about how to celebrate Christmas when your spirituality has evolved, how to be with family who may not understand your path, how to honor tradition without betraying your truth, and how to move through this season with peace, boundaries, and compassion. This is a gentle episode. There's nothing that you need to do. Just listen, reflect, and allow it to come to you. So, for many of us, spirituality doesn't arrive loudly, it arrives quietly. It arrives sometimes through loss and healing, through exhaustion, through a moment, kind of when something inside us whispers, there has to be more. And then slowly your inner world begins to change. Christmas can be the first place where you really notice it. You might still love the lights, and you might still enjoy the music, and you might still cherish parts of the tradition, but something inside you feels different. You notice the stillness between moments. You feel overwhelmed by noise more quickly, and you long for depth instead of performances. And sometimes you wonder, am I doing Christmas wrong now? Why does this feel harder? And why don't I fit the mold the way I used to? Let me say this clearly. You're not broken. You are becoming. Spiritual growth often strips away autopilot living, and Christmas with so much expectations magnifies that awareness. You're allowed to change. Long before Christmas was about shopping lists and schedules, this time of year was sacred. It was marked the longest nights, the pause of the earth, and the return of the light. Stillness was honored, darkness was not feared, and rest was necessary. When you begin to see Christmas this way, something shifts. You realize that silence is sacred, being present is enough, and light doesn't arrive loudly, it just returns gently. Now, celebrating Christmas with a spiritual lens doesn't mean rejecting the holiday. It means experiencing from the inside out. Maybe that looks like lighting a candle before the day begins, sitting quietly while the house sleeps, journaling about what is ending and what is being reborn, and stepping outside and breathing cold winter air. Your spirituality doesn't need to be visible to be valid. Some of the most sacred moments happen quietly. Now, let's talk about the tender part, family. Family gatherings can be especially challenging when your spiritual path no longer mirrors theirs. You may love these people deeply and still feel unseen by them. You may hear questions like, well, what do you believe in now? Why don't you go to church anymore? Is this just a phase? And suddenly you feel like you're standing at a crossroads. Do I explain? Do I stay quiet? Or do I protect my peace? And here's what I want you to hear. You do not owe anyone access to your inner world. Spirituality and spiritual maturity includes discernment. You can choose simplicity. Simply say, I'm focusing on peace and presence this year. You can translate instead of explain. I'm exploring what helps me feel grounded and compassionate. You may want to set up boundaries. This path is meaningful to me and I'd like to keep it private. And boundaries are not rejections, even though it feels that way, but they are self respect. And sometimes the most spiritual thing that you can do is not engage in a debate. Your presence speaks louder than your explanations ever could. Now, one of the deepest lessons of spiritual growth is learning how to love without shrinking. You can sit at the table without abandoning yourself. You can honor tradition without betraying your truth. And you can love your family without needing their approval. It's okay if not everyone understands your path. Understanding is not required for love to exist. You're not here to convert, to convince, or to correct. You're just here to be true. And sometimes that truth looks like maybe stepping away to regulate your nervous system, or leaving early when your energy begins to feel depleted, or choosing quiet over conflict. Christmas is not a test of loyalty, it's an invitation to presence. Now, let's take a moment together. If it feels safe, I'd like for you to close your eyes. Place a hand over your heart and ask yourself quietly, what does my soul need this season? There's no right answer. It might be rest or boundaries, connection, silence, or permission to be different. Breathe that answer in and let it be enough. You don't need to perform your spirituality. You don't need to explain your becoming. You are allowed to evolve. Sit for just a moment and think. What do you choose? I'm choosing rest, connection, and I'm always ready to be different. It is hard sometimes to go to Christmas and people are having conversations that you don't agree with, or you're wanting to share who you really are. But you do not have to share who you are in order for them to love you. I know we want to, but sometimes it's just not time for them to understand. If this episode resonated with you, and if you're having to navigate Christmas with a changed heart, I want you to know that you're not alone. This is a sacred threshold. It's a quiet rebirth, and it's a returning to yourself. If you'd like to explore this topic more deeply, please check out my Substack or listen to additional episodes on this podcast, Spiritual Sanctuary, where we talk about spirituality and boundaries and healing and living authentically through the seasons. If this episode supported you, please consider subscribing, sharing, or leaving a review. It really helps the sanctuary reach others who may need it. And until next time, may you move through this season gently, truthfully, and with deep compassion for yourself. Have a wonderful day.